everybody. Welcome to the Talking Disney podcast. This is the podcast where once a month and sometimes more, we talk about a Disney animated classic, one of the canon films. And we are finally getting to do our episode on Frozen 2. This is our second episode for January. We've been promising this since November, but we finally were able to do it.
Our schedules have been crazy.
Yes. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Stanford, of course, is here with me.
Hi.
Yes. So, yeah, basically, I had an avalanche of Christmas for really from the end of September through the first week of January. My life was just ruled by Christmas.
Yeah, me too. Me too, in my own way.
Yeah, because there's choir,
Christmas concerts, and all sorts of stuff. It was so.
Yeah.
That December is such a crazy month. Wonderful month, but crazy.
Yeah, it's so busy, and I don't know. I was stressed. I was getting kind of stressed out about it, and then it just occurred to me. I'm like, we don't have to do it in. We don't have to do it before Christmas.
That's right. I got that message from you. Just like, what did you think if we put this off after Christmas? I thought brilliant, because it still would be in the theater. We could see it again.
Yeah.
We both saw it. We both went to the critic screening and saw it in November. But we weren't able to see it again. So we could really kind of.
Yeah.
Plus, I was dying to see it again too, because I liked this movie.
Right. And I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't able to kind of take notes and really think about it in the same way that I would for all these other films. And I know that we did Ralph Breaks the Internet and Wreck-It Ralph in November, but I don't know, I just had a better handle on Ralph Breaks the Internet and kind of my thoughts than I did on this. And I needed more time. I needed to see it a second time.
Amen. I hear you. Me too.
So finally this week I was able to see it a second time, and I don't know how but let's start by, for people that haven't listened to our episode on Frozen, and we'll put a link down if you want to check that out. But for those who haven't, why don't you quickly summarize your overall feelings about the first Frozen?
Oh, I love the first Frozen. I think it's such a great addition to the Disney canon. Just really a fantastically entertaining film. I love the sister dynamic. Mm-hmm. The music is brilliant, and it's such a good movie. Now, I really wasn't a big fan of what I call the Frozen phenomenon, which is nonstop products and stuff in theme parks, which is kind of made me crazy. But beyond that, I love the movie.
I think that's definitely fair, and I can see that. I loved Frozen. I loved the music and the story and the characters, and I thought it was great. And there was definitely a high saturation point for sure. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I felt like it was one of the first true kind of Broadway musicals that they have done, and I feel like this sequel was even more so. In the songs,
I just don't think that Bobby Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez can write a bad song.
Yeah,
and maybe they do, but their music is so terrific, and it definitely carries on in this film. Sure.
And a couple of complaints that people, and maybe a little including myself, that had about the first one, that the songs it was kind of top heavy, that there weren't really any songs. The last 20 minutes there's no songs. And so they fixed that here for sure. And then also they gave Kristoff a song.
Kristoff.
We're going to talk about that.
Any complaints about Kristoff not having a song, go see Frozen 2.
Yeah.
And that will all be.
Yes. Because Jonathan Groff has such a great voice, and he's such just a great performer. And I just, even before I saw the movie, I heard the song, and I was like, because it's called Lost in the Woods. We'll talk about it, but I was just like, I love this song. It was so good.
Terrific.
And so yeah, it's interesting that they decided to the directions that they decided to go. What was your overall thoughts about this film, Frozen 2? Now you've seen it twice.
Yeah, so I also think Frozen 2 is absolutely terrific.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those where I wasn't necessarily worried that there was going to be a sequel, but then I was. if that makes sense. I mean, like I trust the filmmakers that are running Walt Disney Animation Studios right now, that they do good work. And then also because it had been 6 years since the first Frozen film, I thought that was enough time. And clearly they took the time. So I thought this was an expertly crafted, really interesting story that they made that really answered the questions that the first film raised. And an incredibly satisfying sequel and an incredibly satisfying way to spend more time with these characters that we all really like.
Mm-hmm.
And again, amazing songs and just incredible animation from Walt Disney Animation Studios. I mean, they are just at the top of their game, I think. And so I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, I did as well. I loved it on the first time I saw it.
Yeah, me too.
But then I heard some complaints and I started to wonder. I was like, was it just hype? How did I feel? So then I see it second time, and I was like, I love it again.
Yeah, that's how I felt
really,
too.
really loved it. And so we'll talk about some of the reasons why, but it's not perfect. I do think the first one is probably still my favorite.
Same here. I mean, I think I like the first one better, but still, this is such a worthy sequel.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably like, with the exception of Let It Go, I probably like the music better in this one, but I think the story is just a little more simple and just emotionally kind of connect with. It's a little bit funnier, I think, the first one too. So the first one is my favorite, but I really did enjoy this, and I thought they took it in some really bold directions.
I did too, and I liked how they actually made an interesting story rather than it was not like a rehash.
Yeah, it was not just a repeat of the like Little Mermaid 2 or something like that.
Right. I thought they were really careful about this story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for the most part it worked. And I agree with you. This is not a perfect film, but it's a really good one.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
And you have to hand it to the Lopez's, because not only did they write all of these songs, but they also wrote all of the songs for the Broadway musical at the same time. Oh my gosh.
There's a great video of them on YouTube that Disney put up where they kind of talk about, the creation of this. And they're just like, we've been living with these characters now for like 9 years. Yeah.
I mean, no wonder they had to cancel Gigantic, because how in the world, I'm so sad about that still, but nevertheless, like, how could they possibly do a whole nother movie and do Coco at the same time,
right. and do this? Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, they're so good.
So the movie starts out with it's a flashback to Elsa and Anna as children, and they are hearing the story about their grandfather, the King Reynard, and there is a group called the Northuldra. Northuldra.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to say. I'm with you. I was having problems with it too. The Northuldra. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they decide to, as the story goes, they're going to build. They have this treaty. They're going to build this dam, and they're told that this is supposedly going to help them. And this enchanted forest, and the story says that this fight occurs and the king ends up dying, the grandfather of the girls, and this battle develops, and there's the spirits of earth, fire, water, and air of the forest, and the wall of mist traps everybody, and then nobody can go in or out. And the only one that's able to get out is their father,
Anna and Elsa's dad, as a young man.
Yes,
who gets miraculously rescued.
Right. And so then we come to 3 years after the coronation, and Anna, Elsa, Olaf, and Kristoff, and Sven, I guess, are all playing charades. What did you think about that?
I thought it was so fun, because again, we're so familiar. Everybody's so familiar with these characters, and then there've been a couple of the shorts, and so it's just I thought it was a clever way to get us reacquainted with these characters that everybody loves, playing a game that we're all familiar with.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was really funny.
Fun.
And we should mention that we do get a little song sung by their mother,
Evan Rachel Wood, who's voiced by Evan Rachel Wood, and it's this haunting song that actually is a bit of a precursor to what's gonna happen. And what did you think of that song?
Yeah, I thought it was beautiful. In general, all of the new supporting, all the new characters, I thought were a little underserved. It was just such a short little song, and I don't know, maybe I just got too hyped from D23 or what, but that would be one critique I'd have of the film, is I think that pretty much all the new characters didn't have a ton to do.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And so, but it was sweet. I gotta look it up. Sorry.
The name of that song.
All is Found.
All is Found. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also get when they're introducing the current world, we get Some Things Never Change, which was a fun song.
Talking about how just they're living their life in Arendelle, and things are kind of like just kind of chugging along, right?
Yeah.
Not really changing. Olaf has somehow been, what do they call it? He's got permafrost. So instead of having his own little private flurry like he had at the end of Frozen, Elsa somehow changed him so he doesn't melt.
Yeah, and he's like a little bit more contemplative.
Yeah, he's
Olaf.
it's like Olaf is maturing, which I actually thought that was a really cool choice for the plot, that Olaf is trying to, I mean, he's still Olaf, but he's maturing and figuring things out in life. And I like that. What did you think of that?
I mean, there's the whole sort of theme of water. Water has memory. And so he's kind of concerned about that. And I know some people are annoyed by Olaf. I've always liked Olaf.
I like Olaf too. I like Olaf in the movie. The phenomenon is like, I could see you get a little tired of Olaf. At Disneyland, like Olaf was everywhere. Like, oh, please,
Right. Well, so Elsa is hearing a voice calling to her, and so that kind of breaks up the charades game, and she's really bothered and disturbed by it, and that's when we get into the unknown, which it was definitely their kind of let it go. But actually, I don't know. I kind of feel like Show Yourself is actually more let it go-y. Show Yourself is more let it go. I think so too. But I think Into the Unknown, I mean, that's one that I could just put on repeat. I love the song, and I love the sequence in the film. I mean, I just think so. She's initially singing it, and she's in the end. She's kind of like walking through the castle, and then she goes outside, and she kind of goes into this
dark. I mean, this dark area, and then she's able to use all of her special Elsa snow sparkles and creates all this incredible imagery, and I just love it. I just think, I mean, again, it's just Disney at its best.
And we get to learn more about Anna and Elsa's relationship, because she still fears hurting Anna, and Anna says to her, like, we are doing this together.
Yeah.
And she says, well, what if I have to go into fire? And she says, well, don't follow me into fire. And he says, well, then don't go into fire. And so we see that Anna is very as committed as ever to protecting Elsa, and that they are going to do this all together.
Yeah.
And so it's really lovely. I just love their dynamic. I think it's so easy to relate to. And I think anybody with strong-willed sisters, I think could definitely relate to that sort of dynamic of, like, I want to help you through this, but then they feel like either they're a burden or or you just want to understand.
Yeah. And I know we talked about this in our review of Frozen, when we did it last year, but I think that's what the big strength of these two films is this sister dynamic, because that makes it just has not one of those things that has been explored, and I just think sisters everywhere seem to just resonate with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I just really relate to that whole dynamic on both sides. I relate to Anna. I relate to Elsa. I think it's really well done. And we also forgot to say that in Some Things Never Change, we learn that Kristoff is going to propose to Anna. And my thought is almost like, okay, what is taking so long? It's a slow mover.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, that should have been done in like a Christmas present in Olaf's Frozen Adventure or something.
We know each other well enough by now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And but some people have taken issue with they don't give Kristoff enough to do. But in my opinion, it's fine. I mean, how many female characters have we seen over the years that are there just as love interests? And I was fine with him having this secondary role and having a cool song, and that was he's there just to be part of the team. No problem,
because clearly he was in a supporting role in this film, and he does it well, and he comes and he's there when he needs to be, and I think it works, and that just the big kind of the running thing is that he keeps trying to propose to Anna, and it just keeps failing.
Yeah.
Due to circumstances, it's not so much his fault. It's just like stuff happens.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good, and so they end up. Elsa ends up basically communicating with this sort of spirit, and I do feel like that. I don't know how they could kind of make things a little more clear. I think some of the stuff with the spirits and the lore gets a little muddled.
It's unclear.
A little confusing. What are they doing? I
agree with you. It helped with the second time. It was like, okay, I think this is coming together a little bit. And it's interesting because, they don't really share this, but like the teaser poster, remember how the teaser poster, people were saying that it kind of looked like a snowflake initially, but it's not a snowflake. It's really this earth, fire, water, air, and then this fifth spirit,
right,
that is like the bridge, right, or the thing that brings them all together, and so that imagery, it turns out that it's embroidered on one of the mom's, Elsa and Anna's mother's shawl that they like to wear. And but that gets revealed a little later. But still, I'm with you. It's I don't think that was explained as well as it could have been.
Yeah. And it's kind of similar to, as far as that symbol, similar to Entangled, how we see the sun
Yeah.
kind of as a symbol throughout and kind of connecting.
Yes.
I think it's kind of done the same way. And so they end up causing this elemental problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to evacuate Arendelle.
Like
And
Arendelle, like starts falling apart. All this
yeah.
stuff's going on. Yeah.
And so they decide to go and, well, the trolls, they talk to the trolls, and they find out they have to uh, go and set things right in the Enchanted Forest.
And so they ask the trolls to watch over the citizens as they're
Yeah,
displaced.
right. And so they go into the Enchanted Forest,
And it's
and
Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven. And you know,
right.
they're in the Kristoff's sleigh that Sven is pulling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is around when we get Olaf's song, When I Am Older, which is cute.
I thought it was funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Olaf's, in summer song again.
It's a nice little break from the tension
It is
that we've had, and it's cute. I don't think it's as good as in summer.
No, it's not nearly the home run that in summers, but it's funny. But it also again plays into Olaf's kind of character arc in this film as he's trying to figure stuff out, and I do like that, the whole concept of saying, and it's also kind of funny because like this is all makes sense when I get older, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I mean, we all know as adults, like, no, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
The
Yeah.
world still as wacky, as ever.
So Elsa learns that when she's in the Enchanted Forest with this Gale that helps her, this spirit they've been kind of following, that she can make ice sculptures that are symbolic of the past. And so she sees the image of her mother rescuing her father at one point.
Yeah, it's the mother who is a Northuldra.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one who pulled him out of the Enchanted Forest before it got all shut off.
Yeah, and so we learned that those symbols and other things that was from the Northuldra, and that is part of what makes Elsa special, is this power from her mother.
Yeah, that it's her mother. That I think that's such a cool revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they meet in the Northuldra, and like I said, I felt like all of the new characters were underused. There was a side of me that felt like, oh, they just made Marion just to sell toys. I mean, she had so little to do.
Oh, right. She had like 2 lines or something. And I wondered, I can't help but think that they had made more that they just had to cut. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
It's just like, because they got to keep it. This movie is really plot heavy. And I don't mean that as a criticism, but they're cramming a lot of story into this, as well as having to keep the musical numbers and the pacing that is kind of a hallmark, right, of the Disney films.
Yeah.
So
anyway. No, it's true, and some people did also mention that who knows, maybe they'll end up doing a television show like they did with Tangled. So then they have all these characters that they can use. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
There was a section of people that thought, oh, is this Honey Marion character going to be the girlfriend for Elsa?
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And I guess we're not going to talk about this too much, but my thoughts on it is that I feel like Elsa is her own character, and I think she is stronger without a romantic interest. And so I just don't think that was needed. I think it would have felt very out of place for any romantic interest for Elsa in this story. I don't think it would have worked very well.
You bring up a good point. I know I heard an interview with Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck, the directors, and Jennifer Lee's the writer of the script too, of this one again. And that was her thing too. She's saying that Elsa is not. There's not wrong. She's got other things to figure out in this story, and romance isn't one of them. And I'm not doing a good job quoting Jennifer.
No, I saw that interview as well, and so I agree. I personally, I'm not opposed to all different kinds of characters if it's done right, but I feel like you shouldn't really retcon or change it's up to the storytellers, and it's up to the characters, and if they're going to work for that character. I certainly don't think any creator should be bullied into making a character something that's not in their vision. But if they go that way, then that will be interesting. We'll talk about it. But for now, that was not a part of Elsa's story. So, all right. Then we find out that inside the forest, there is a whole group of not only the Northuldra, but also of the Arendelle soldiers.
Right, that had been there when the dam got built, and when the king got killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and there was also the cute little salamander,
Bruni, who's so cute.
Yeah, he's so cute.
This little salamander who has firepower.
Mm-hmm. And they are going to sell the heck out of that thing.
Yeah, he's really cute.
I had to laugh when the film critic Matt Singer, he was saying the other day, he's saying, so all those people that thought the songs in Frozen were not going to be played a million times by small children and weren't going to be as catchy, they're wrong.
That's what I've heard too from my friends with kids. They're like, they've got Frozen 2 now in the playlist for the kids, and they're liking it.
And it was really cool. The other day I went to the Great Harvest, and there was all girls working there, and they were all like singing and listening to the Frozen 2 soundtrack. And I think that it's kind of nice. I felt like I wish that it had gotten nominated, but in a way, I feel like I've been able to kind of enjoy Frozen 2 almost a little bit more, because it's just like this thing that I can just like, and people aren't bothering me about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just like this little thing that I can just enjoy, and if everyone else doesn't, that's okay. And it can make over $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, it's making so much money. I don't feel like there's quite the phenomenon with it.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that, because that really drove me crazy. I'm with you though. I think that it is kind of a satisfying thing.
Yeah. It's like this little special thing that we just like together.
Yeah.
But we find out that basically things are not as they seem, and that the dam was actually something that was done to control the Northuldra and was hurting them. And I thought that this was a pretty bold way for them to go, to have this shameful past in their.
Me too. I thought it. Yeah. I thought it was really great. In fact, because again, I think it kind of teaches an important life lesson.
Yeah.
That with it too. Yeah, I agree with you. I was really surprised by it.
Mm-hmm. And that basically it was a whole big scheme by their grandfather to control the Northuldras,
to make them dependent on Arendelle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so
damage their land and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a bad dude.
So if it wasn't for the sacrifice of their mother to save their father, then it wouldn't have. There would be no hope at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still this battle going on between them because of what had happened with the grandfather. And so yeah, I really thought that was good. And so basically, so the next part does get a little bit confusing. So Elsa still feels the calling and calling to her, and she needs to go to at O'Holland.
Well, yeah, because remember that they discover the ship that that their parents died in.
Right. Yeah.
And because water has memory, Elsa was able to use this water to help, kind of discover this map. If I'm remembering the sequence correctly, but where they see this map, and they were trying to get to that Otto Holland or whatever. you said it right. Yeah. I'm saying it wrong. But it's this place where there's in that lullaby that their mother sings to him at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, Elsa just knows that this is where she's got to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a whole scene where Kristoff goes off with one of the
North Uldra.
And so then Anna and Elsa are talking, and she wants to go find to Holland, and Anna says, "No, I need to go with you." But Elsa doesn't want to take Anna, and is worried about
She's just
her.
worried about her safety, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so she ends up kind of tricking Anna into being in this boat and getting sent away, and then she goes off. Anna and Olaf
get put off in this Elsa ice boat, and she sends them off. She sends them packing away so she can do her thing.
Right.
Yeah. Face this. She feels like she has to face this alone.
And so Elsa finds out that her powers were given to her by nature. That she's basically the kind of the fifth of the spirit.
She's that fifth spirit that brings everything, that's supposed to bring everything together.
And this comes because of her mother's selfless act. And so that Elsa becomes the fifth spirit. And like I said, a lot of this kind of stuff gets a little convoluted, but I was okay with it. It's fantasy. I don't know.
This sequence though, I love so much, Rachel, it's the sequence that they showed in the first Frozen teaser trailer, where Elsa is there like on the shore, and these giant waves are coming, and she's trying to figure out how to get through this water, so it's the coolest animation. And then what they don't show though is when she gets submerged under the water, because these waves keep kind of bringing her down, right? She's not able to conquer it. She sees this horse that's formed in the water, and I just think this horse is like the coolest thing ever. It's like one of my favorite parts of the movie, is that it's this water horse that Elsa tames, and then it's what she uses to get her across the ocean to get to Otto Holland, and it's so cool.
Yep. And so also during this whole time, we get a break in the tension for Kristoff to sing about his worries about Anna in Lost in the Woods, which is my favorite song to ever exist. I absolutely loved the song. I know some other people took him out of the movie, or it was too silly or whatever, but me and my friend Jen were just dying. We loved it. We were laughing so hard. And I mean, and then the Weezer song is the best.
And Weezer does a cover of it that they play in the end credits, and there's also a music video, and it's so great. So great.
Oh, it's so good. It's so funny. It's so over the top, and just I just loved it. I thought it was perfect.
I thought it was perfect too, because it's just like the perfect tension breaker. And what I guess, I mean, I love the whole thing too, Rach. It's so terrific. But what cracked me up is that not only is Jonathan Groff singing, Kristoff's leads, but then Sven and all these reindeer that are with him
Yes!
are singing too, and it's
So
him.
good.
So it's like his voice, times 50, and then how the animation that they did is so classic because they made it like an 1980s power ballad music video.
It was so
and
good.
It's so funny. So I kind of wondered how it's playing with everybody, because if you've never seen MTV, or if it's just something, if you're, I don't know, if you get it, because I just thought it was just brilliant.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of just like the weird surrealist sort of stuff that you used to get in Disney films, that
Yes.
wouldn't be connected to hardly anything, like Pink Elephants on Parade or something like that.
Yes.
And this was kind of like that. I mean, it had a small connection, but it was just joyous.
Yeah,
it was
it's just
fun.
It
was
pure delight.
Yeah, it was happy. It was beautifully animated. It made you laugh, and I mean, I loved that. I thought that was great. I mean, this is a huge tradition of Disney animation. Like, if you think about something like Les Poissons in Little Mermaid, that's just for laughs.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's just for fun.
And it works. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I just absolutely adored it. And I think more crazy flights of fancy and 80s power ballads.
80s power ballads.
Yes. It was just like they it was just like their chance to do like a Chicago number.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Journey or something.
Yeah, it's just so funny.
I can't even say how much I just absolutely loved that song.
Yeah, it really, really worked.
And so, then what we have is once Elsa gets to Atahala, she realizes the whole history of this dam and that it was basically a trick on the part of of her grandfather to try and basically take over not only the people but also the land, and that you also had her grandfather killing the leader of the Northuldra, which was
I mean, that's dark,
Mm-hmm.
And that sequence though is so terrific because as we talked a little bit earlier, this is where she sings the song "Show Yourself," and
yes,
that's really, I think, kind of the "Let It Go" equivalent.
Yes,
it's so good and so meaningful. The lyrics are so good in it because really, Elsa finally she figures out. I mean, she knows now who she is and where she gets her powers from,
mm-hmm.
and that she's not some,
freak that
right.
It makes sense, and Idina Menzel just crushes it through that whole song. It's so good.
It's so good. I mean,
makes
Idina
it seem
Menzel, she just she's so fantastic in this movie as she always is. But oh wow,
yeah,
they gave her such great songs to sing too. That Bobby Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez just know how to write for her, and I love the animation in this because Elsa goes through yet another transformation, and she lets her hair down, and she gets clothed in that beautiful white.
Yes.
I mean the costumes in this are so great, and this was no exception, and you just almost feel like this sense of relief that here this poor character who has really suffered a lot, and just because she doesn't know who she is,
right,
and now she does, and what a relief. And then as you were describing so well, she finds out this horrible truth about what really went down there in the Enchanted Forest.
Yeah, and so then she basically kind of sends this information to Anna, and through the spirits or whatever, I don't know.
The Force.
It's
the
fantasy.
Force.
Yeah, of course.
I was this part was I really wanted to talk to you about this, Rachel, particularly after this second viewing. So I'm so glad we're recording this because this is one part where I really didn't get. So because Elsa has this great revelation then about herself, and then she finds out she kind of has to go like jump off this ledge, and then she goes down deep, which I think is somewhat symbolic. She's like learning kind of the deep family secrets.
Yeah, and then she sees all these memories of her past.
And she's actually getting cold, though, and then she ends up freezing, like being frozen herself. And she's able to like send off this snow message, right, whatever that is, to her sister. But I didn't understand like why she was freezing. Did that get explained? Or and I'm not trying to. Hopefully, I'm not overthinking it, and I'm not upset about it either. But no. How did that happen?
According to Wikipedia, it's because she's venturing into the most dangerous part of Atolla. So I don't know.
How did you do it?
That makes sense exactly. It is a little weird. Especially because, like the previous time when she was frozen, it was because. I guess it was Anna frozen because of lack of love. Yeah. So I guess venturing into the dark, this darkness.
Yeah, it did it to her. It not only did it freeze her, but it disintegrates Olaf.
Yeah.
And I heard that was like made a lot of people sad too.
How could it not make you sad?
And I was sad, but I also was just thinking, there's no way they're killing off Olaf. It's like he's gonna come back.
Yeah,
but maybe I was putting too much faith. It
did kind of remind me of this weird similarity, but of Gurgi dying.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah. Right.
Yeah, you're going to kill this character. No.
But Josh Gad does such a good job, though. I thought that I was willing to go with it because I was invested in that performance.
Oh, absolutely.
But it was kind of confusing. It's true.
But Olaf disintegrating, again, it made sense in with Elsa freezing, but Elsa freezing still confuses me. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So Elsa, basically, I think it's just like things are just getting darker and darker and darker and more hopeless and more hopeless. But yeah, it's a plot hole.
But it adds some drama and also I can in a way, it's kind of helpful when Olaf goes away though, because Anna has to figure some stuff out.
Yeah, it's too bad that Anna can't send a message to Kristoff to let him know what's going on.
Come help me, because
Anna
ends up in this. And Olaf before he disintegrates, but they end up in this cave.
Yeah, I love the animation in those scenes.
Me too.
I love her dress, and I don't know, just the lighting and the color, everything. I love those scenes.
I do too, and it leads to that great song, "The Next Right Thing."
Yes,
and
that's a good song.
It's a good song, and Kristen Bell nails it, and again, stunning animation with it, and a really good song to move the plot forward. Too. Yeah,
it was really, really good, and so she gets the message, and she realizes she has to restore peace in order to bring back Elsa and fix everything. So she decides that they need to destroy the dam.
Yeah, it's just destroying the dam is what's going to bring the peace back.
Yeah, and so she wakens the earth spirits, and
which are so cool. I
think. Those are cool.
Those giant rock people.
Yeah. And she's pretty awesome, I think, in this whole thing. Like, I'd want to be on it.
She's like, she gets it done. And she's super impressive.
Yeah. And she meets back up with Kristoff, and that's fun. And he says something like, I should have written it down, but she says, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's like, don't worry, I can handle it. I can. So I don't know. It was cute, and I like their relationship. And so the earth spirits break the dam, and it's an awesome moment for Anna, and because she really saves the day. And
So she does, but then there's a problem though. So this giant wall of water
yes,
is rolling towards Arendelle because they busted the dam.
yeah. And so Elsa thaws out, and she is able to save Arendelle from the flood. And
she puts up this massive wall of Elsa ice that diverts the water, and it's so cool because she's riding the water horse, my favorite, the water horse.
Yeah, I know. I like it
the
too.
Horse.
Yes, and then we get kind of everything just kind of wraps up. You have the people from Manahala that you have the North Eldrin people and the people from Arendelle that are meeting and
so the cloud is lifted and then people can leave, the Enchanted Forest.
And when I first saw it, I was pretty confused by the ending because I didn't understand, why does Elsa have to leave? I mean, she's a bridge between the spirits, the spirits and the humans.
Yeah, see, and how did you interpret it with your second viewing? And I'll tell you mine.
So I think that I felt like, I guess, that she has to keep the peace of everything, so they don't get into this sort of spot of so there has to be somebody over there. Anna could be on the one side, and Elsa has to be on the other side in order for it to have balance. That was sort of my best guess. I don't know. It's still a little weird.
Again, it's one of those. I don't think they explain it. Now, this is just my interpretation. Maybe this is just like my wish, But I just thought Elsa chose to do it, and it's just because it's like a better fit for her, because she never wanted to be queen. I mean, she was just doing it out of duty, but it wasn't something that she really wanted or was necessarily well suited for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a much better fit for Anna, even though Anna, but I mean, clearly we know that Anna is capable and she's going to do great.
Yeah. I loved that scene when she comes out and she's the queen.
Yeah, she's queen.
She's awesome. And so we got two queens, which I think is so great.
Which is great. And I think so too. And I love that there's a bridge between them.
I mean, I guess I just felt like, so Elsa's now queen of the Enchanted that side, and now Anna is the queen of Arendelle, so they're both needed on their sides. But it was a little confusing.
It's a little confusing because like at the entrance to the Enchanted Forest, there's those big monoliths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because I feel like for sure Elsa would be at Anna's coronation. That seemed a little weird to me.
Yeah, it's confusing. I mean, but I tell you though, one of my favorite shots of the film is that final one where Elsa is riding the horse, back down to Arendelle, and the look, how they've animated the look on her face, which is just full of peace and happiness and joy, and it's not a look you got to see a lot in Elsa.
Yeah,
and she's on the horse, and which hello, my favorite, but the wind's blowing through her hair, and just think, wow, this is so cool. It's so great. Yeah. What a happy ending, or a happy beginning for this character we love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good. So I obviously I don't have this in my last ranking because it hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
But I think that I will put it probably at 24. 24 is where I currently had Bambi. And I think I put it just above Bambi. And just under, I have Jungle Book at 23 and Bambi at 20. So Bambi would be at 25. now.
So I did rank
feel
it.
pretty good about
So
that.
I ranked it. For me, it's the number 23.
Yeah, there we go. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Basically. 24, you're 23.
And then I have Frozen at number 18.
Okay. Yeah, we're pretty close. I have Frozen at 12 currently in my last ranking, which is probably, I might have it a little lower, but I have Zootopia at 16, which seems a little high for me. The way that's kind of, I mean, I love it, but it's hard. Rankings are hard.
Rankings are so hard. As you know, it's so hard. But I'm really glad I forced myself to do it. But
I know.
I just like want to put them all the ones that I really love in just one big group. You know, like I love these movies.
I know.
And with no order.
Yeah. So I think that's where I feel good about 24. So for Frozen 2.
Yeah, I feel good about, because I think it's worthy of at least being in the top 25.
Yes.
You know?
So
really great film.
I loved it. I can't wait to see it again. Yeah,
I have to bring up I mean, life goes on and stuff happens. I feel like Frozen 2 got snubbed by not getting nominated for a Best Animated Film.
Yeah.
But you know, what can you do? It's one of those things that happens, and still it earned $1 billion. And
yeah,
it's made a lot of people happy. So,
and I think that the bigger part, rather than the film, actually, is that I do think that the Academy doesn't love sequels. I mean, yes, I thought that the Dragon movie would probably be the one that would get bumped, but you know, for whatever reason, I guess they liked that one better than Frozen 2. But yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of sequels. Usually, it's the Pixar sequel that gets bumped.
Yeah.
But in the case, you know, like Finding Dory, for instance, it's the bump. And so, yeah, I mean, I do like Toy Story 4 better. Personally,
I do too. I mean,
so
you and I both were in a line.
It's tough.
Oh, it's so tough though. I thought Toy Story 4 was just really just perfect.
Yeah.
You know, where this Frozen 2 is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
With kind of a few plot holes going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's Oscars are weird. What are you gonna do?
Exactly. It's just the way it is.
So let us know if you're listening what you thought of Frozen 2, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the description. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section or on Twitter. That would be really fun. And you can follow us at Disney Talking on Twitter. That is our Twitter feed, and we'd love to have you there. And then also you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, everywhere, and Rotten Tomatoes. And Stanford, where can people follow you?
On Twitter, I'm at Stanford Clark, and then I also have a movie blog and podcast at moviespastandpresent.com.
Great. And I'll have all that in the description section. Make sure you check it out. And we'll be excited for next month. We're going to be talking about Melody Time. So
yes,
that should be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fun. Package film.
Yes, it's going to be great. So thanks so much. And we will talk to you all later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.